Welcome back to the Perks Recap Podcast. It has been a long enough time. What has it been, Al? 3-4 weeks now?
Yeah, it's got to be pushing a month, man. We did the free agency and then took off until draft time. So yeah, it's about a month, maybe even maybe 5-6 weeks even. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Long time for us.
Yes, long time for us for sure. Brandon is not going to be able to join us for this one, but he will be. He's not gone for good. He'll be back.
No, we love Brandon. He couldn't make it tonight, and that's okay. But his team will be heavily represented as we discuss the first round.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. We're going to do like we did last year. We're going to go back and forth. You do a pick, I do a pick, you do a pick, I do a pick, and we'll just go down like that.
Perfect. Sounds good, my man.
Okay. Now, are we going to, so if you pick somebody that I have going later, do I just change it or do I just, no, I guess I wouldn't change it, would I?
I guess we're going to just have to roll with it. Yeah. And then, we're going to have to just roll with it because it would be tough to do that on the fly and it would mess up the rest of your mock, in that example. So yeah, we'll just, do what we both have, talk about it. And then, if we have any repeats, the other person won't have a repeat. You know what I mean? So we can discuss what the other person would have had too.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So why don't you, start it off? I mean, you could start it with the Jets. Let's just, the Raiders, we all know Mendoza's going number one. It's not anything really to even discuss that much. I don't think he's a slam dunk, starting quarterback right off the bat, but I think he's definitely the best quarterback in the draft. And, there's no speculation. He's going number one.
Yeah, that's perfectly put. And he is the only, and I mean the only obvious pick in this entire exercise. This is the single hardest mock draft to do in all my years of watching football.
I agree. This was tough.
There are guys that I could be putting at number 5 or 6 that you might not have going until 17 or 18, and it's not crazy on either of our parts. It's just that hard.
Yep. Okay, so start with the Jets.
Okay. So, I mean, this is where it gets interesting right away because there's 2 real choices to me, maybe somebody else too. Who knows with this draft? The 2 choices come down to the 2 best edge guys in the draft in my mind, and that's David Bailey and Arvell Reese. I'm going to go on the assumption Aaron Glenn gets a little bit of a say and wants the more polished guy that can help him more right away. And to me, that's clearly David Bailey. You can make a big case that Arvell Reese has a higher upside. David Bailey's more ready right now. And I'm going to hope for Aaron Glenn's sake he gets a guy that's more ready right now and go with David Bailey, edge from Texas Tech.
Okay, well, I would be going number 3 with Arizona, and I have those same 2 guys going back to back, but I have it reversed. I have the Jets taking Reese, and I have Arizona taking Bailey.
Yeah, and that could very well be the case. I have the same thing you do, just opposite, and they both make sense. I wouldn't argue vehemently either way because I don't know which way it's going to go. The general consensus is Arvell Reese has more upside. David Bailey's more polished and ready to go.
Yeah, and I don't think they can go wrong either way. I think they're both going to be really, going to be pretty good.
I agree. And I honestly, if I was picking, I would take Arvell Reese because of the upside.
I like both players though. Yeah, I like them both.
Yeah, I flip a coin. Whoever picks second of those 2, Arizona picking second might get lucky and just have the choice taken out of their hands and get the better guy anyway,
Right. Yep. Okay. So that would be you to Tennessee, where now it gets even more interesting.
Yeah, this is where it gets super interesting. And I'm going to go with the guy that a lot of people, in fact, I would say most people, think is the best player in the entire draft, and that is Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame. This guy is a real good bet. It's not a lock, but it's a real good bet that he's going to be the first top 5 running back since Saquon Barkley, and I believe it was 17 or 18.
Yep.
He's awesome. Wherever he goes, he's going to be a good player, and it's a good year to take a position like running back high because it's such a I guess a lot of people think it's like a mediocre draft. Listen, there's going to be 10 Hall of Famers from this class probably or something. You know what I mean? Like it's in the end, it's going to be a good class. But the way it's being viewed, it seems like a good year for a running back to go top 5, especially somebody of his caliber. So I'm going Love, number 4, Tennessee.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. I don't know. I think they're actually going to go offensive line to protect
Very
Ward a
possible.
little, bit. And if they do go offensive line, I have them taking Francis Maui Noah. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think you're pretty darn close, and I'm not going to try and correct it.
The kid's from Miami. He's from Miami.
Yeah,
Offensive
and
tackle.
I'm with you. I think he'll be the first offensive lineman off the board.
Right. So I have him going there. I have Love going later, and we talked about him already. So when it comes up, I'll just let you know that's where I have him, and you can do the same thing for Maui Noah.
Perfect. Perfect. Love it. Love it. All right. So the Giants at number 5.
Yeah. Um, I was initially thinking maybe I would give them Love, but I don't think they're going to take him either. I think you would hope they would have learned their lesson uh, to not take a running back that high. So I'm going to go for them the best receiver on the board, which is Carnell Tate, and give Dart another big weapon. You have Tate on one side, Neighbors on the other. That's a good start.
Listen, that's a solid call. I don't mind it even a little bit. And even it's crazy because in this draft class, you can find people that will argue that Carnell Tate is the number 5 receiver, even though most often you see him as number 1.
Yeah.
But it's such a disparaging viewpoint or there's a disparity. I used the wrong word there in the viewpoint of even the receiver class, which seemed pretty cut and dry heading into the combine, but has not stayed that way. I like Tate. He's not my personal favorite, but I have him going as my number 1 receiver too, just not to the Giants. The thing, if you want to go against Tate, he was 34th among wide receivers at the combine in athletic score, and he ran a 4.53. Those are the marks against him. The obvious marks for him is you watch him play, and he looks like a freaking beast. So I'm on the side of he'll be a player as opposed to going with any of the combine nonsense.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's right. I'm right there with you.
Right on, right on. Now, I did not go receiver for the Giants. I went the guy who I consider the most intriguing and possibly best player available, although there's one other guy I would make a case for that'll come up in a little bit, and that's Sonny Styles, the very intriguing linebacker from Ohio State who was off the charts in athleticism. Everything that Carnell Tate did not do at the combine, Sonny Styles did. He ran a 4.46. Craig, let me say that again. A 4.46 as a 6'5", 244-pound man. He is almost almost a full tenth of a second faster than Carnell Tate, who's 6'2", 192.
Yeah.
It's crazy how fast Sonny Styles is.
Yep. I love him. He's a freak.
He really is. He's an absolute freak. He's a bit of a projection in the NFL because usually off non-edge linebackers do not go this high. But I think he's good enough and to make a real impact in the league. Also, his dad, Lorenzo Styles, played for the Rams in that in the Super Bowl winning team against the Titans in '99. I didn't realize that until late in the process. I never put that together.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So that would.
I don't think Giant fans would be too pissed off about either of those picks that we made for him, honestly.
I don't think so.
Right on.
All right. So you give us your Cleveland pick.
Okay, well, right on your heels, man. This is where Carnell Tate went for me. Another team. Both of these teams need receivers in a bad way, and Cleveland arguably even more than the Giants, although both of them need them. And I don't know who's going to play quarterback for the Browns this year. Deshaun Watson's back in the mix, which blows my mind. You got Sanders, you got Dylan Gabriel. I mean, who knows who's going to be playing quarterback for them, but they need options, and Carnell Tate will give them that. So Carnell Tate to Cleveland for me. What do you got?
Well, I have wide receiver as a positional need for Cleveland for sure, other than one other position, which is offensive line.
Absolutely.
And I gave them Spencer Fano from Utah to offensive line needs rather than go with the receiver.
Totally legit. I have no problem with that at all. Yeah, either one I think is a reasonable selection. They're both huge needs for them. So yeah, I'm with you.
Yep. All right. Sonny Styles going. Yep. All right.
So your number 7 Washington pick.
This is where Jeremiah Love went for me.
I think this is his floor. I think this is the lowest he possibly goes, barring some crazy trade scenarios.
Right. I agree. So we already discussed Love, but that's where I have him going.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So I'm going edge for Washington since Love was already gone, and that is a huge need for them. So is defense, in particular edge. And the best one left on my board, Ruben Bain Jr. from Miami. There's been a bit of a smear campaign against him in the last few weeks. A reporter decided to bring up an old story about somebody dying in an accident he was involved in. The family itself of the person that died said they have forgiven him or the situation, and they didn't want it brought up. The reporter decided he knew better and brought it up anyway. It's a shame for Ruben Bain and the family of the person that died. But it doesn't change this guy as a player, and I don't think he's going to drop because of it because everybody seems to understand the situation. To me, he's the third best edge guy on the board after the top 2 guys that went 2 and 3 for us, Reese and Bailey. So Ruben Bain Jr. to Washington.
I like it, and I'm a big fan. The only thing about him I hear, the short arms. People are concerned about his short arms, but I think at that point you're kind of splitting hairs. I would say.
Yeah, I agree. The short arm thing very rarely seems to come into play in the league once they get there. It's only combine talk and that kind of stuff. So we'll see. I mean, he probably, with that in mind, he might not lead the league in deflected passes, but it's not going to keep him from sacking people, I don't think.
Yeah, he's a high motor guy, and that's what matters.
Yeah, exactly. And he produced in college. He's not just a projection. He had 9.5 sacks last year, which is more than Arvell Reese.
Yep. Okay. New Orleans.
Is this me?
That's you.
Okay. Well, I said earlier that when I brought up Jeremiah Love, that a lot of people consider him the best player in the draft. I think most, actually. But the guy that is the other guy in that discussion is the guy I have going to New Orleans, and that is Caleb Downs, the safety from Ohio State. This guy might be the best player in the draft if it's not Love. Everybody talks about his brain, how smart he is.
It's just the safety disparaging that people just say you don't take a safety that high. That's the only negative I've heard on him.
100%. Yeah, it's the same conversation with Love. You know what I mean? And again, in a quote unquote down year for the draft, where nobody's sure about anybody, I think the positions in the case of running back and safety that tend to get slid down the draft board a little bit aren't going to as much this year because they stand out big time in a year without a lot of blue chippers.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So what do you have for New Orleans?
I have Jordan Tyson.
Oh, now here's one of the most polarizing guys in the draft. I love it that you brought him up early. This is great.
He's got injury risk, obviously, but he also has big time upside.
I love him.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, well, we talked, 2 or 3. I guess it would have been during the free agency pod we did, whenever that was, a little over a month ago. We talked about the receivers in the draft for half a second, and I brought up 3 that were that had, in my mind, had separated themselves from everybody else. And Tyson is one, Carnell Tate is the other, and I'll save talking about the third guy until we get to him. But I love this guy. Now, he was hurt by the fact that he couldn't participate in the off-season workout stuff because of yet another injury, and he does come with a boatload of injury concerns. But, boy, he is tantalizing, and I think there's a real good chance he goes this high. I didn't have him there, but I don't hate that you do. In fact, I like it because I like the player a lot.
Yep. NFL.com had a nice comp. They have him as a Jerry Jeudy type.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah, that makes sense to me, actually. I think a Jerry Jeudy that's even a more polished receiver coming out of college, because he is. I mean, he put up like mid 70s in catches and like 1,200 yards. last year. And that's a guy who we're talking about injury concerns on. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
So I love the guy. I like that you had him that high. And yeah, I think, New Orleans would love to have him, man. Playing in that dome, I think he could be a beast.
Okay. For Kansas City at number 9,
Yes.
their number one need that I see here that I've looked up and kind of that's what I do with every team, like their biggest needs.
Me too.
Yeah, I got cornerback as their biggest need, and then wide receiver as their second biggest need. And the number one corner is still out there, Mansour Delane, or is it Delane or Delaney?
I'm pretty sure it's Delane.
Okay, yeah, that's who I have Kansas City taking is Mansour Delane, the LSU corner.
I love it, dude. And this is the first time we have agreed. I am 100% with you. This was one of the easiest picks to make. I would add tackle to Kansas City's need as least as equal to receiver. Because Mahomes has been under attack for the last couple of years. But to me, the corner, I mean, they traded one of the best corners in football to the Rams. The Rams signed their other starting cornerback, and they lost their best starting safety. So they lost 3 out of their 4 starting positions in the secondary in this offseason. They have to replenish. This guy not only is the best corner available, but fits the system they like to play. It's a lock to me if he's sitting there that they will take him.
Yep, I agree.
Love it. Hey, there we go. It took till number 9, but we agree.
Yeah.
I love it. All right.
Number 10, back to the Giants because of the trade of Dexter Lawrence to the Bengals. I think they fleeced the Bengals. And I hate to say it, the Giants are looking better and better, and it's annoying the crap out of me. But they really did. I think they killed the Bengals in this trade. I don't know what the Bengals are thinking.
I don't agree. I think, listen, Dexter Lawrence is one of the 5 best defensive tackles in football.
He had half a sack last year.
What's that?
He had half a sack last year.
Yeah, but look at the rest of his career and look at the rest of that team last year.
Yeah, I know,
You know?
but I wouldn't. That's not a top 10 pick in my opinion. I was thinking when they were going to trade him, they were going to get like a late first and like a 4th or something like that. Not a top 10. That's crazy talk to me.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from, but this is also considered one of the weakest drafts of the last 25 years. So it's more like a pick 25 in most drafts, the way people are viewing it. And if you break down, what was the stat I saw? The what's that called? The pass rush rate or whatever. The not the hurries, but it's dang it, I should have wrote it down. But he was higher than Quinnen Williams in this stat even last year, and Quinnen Williams went for 2 first-round picks last year.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, to my team.
Right. So I'm fascinated by this trade. I don't love it for them, but I don't hate it for them either from the Bengals perspective. And I'm real curious to see what they can do. The odds of them getting a player as good as Dexter Lawrence with the number 10 pick are pretty slim. So it's interesting. I at least
here's another thing too: is he only signed a 1-year deal? He could be one and done.
Well, that's through next year though, so that's 2 years.
Yeah, he only signed a 1-year extension. Yeah.
Right. So they have him for at least 2 years. Which, that doesn't bother me a whole lot personally because there's no deal in the NFL hardly that's actually more than a couple years anyway with the way they structure their contracts. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Hang on, let me see about his contract.
Unless you're Deshaun Watson and you get guaranteed money.
Yeah, no, okay. Oh, you're right. 2020-28 season. Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing that's interesting to me about this is the Bengals actually look like they're trying to win for once.
Yeah, see, maybe I'm just down on him. I don't think Dexter Lawrence is that kind of player that's going to make that big of a difference. I think he's going to just go right into obscurity as soon as he gets there.
I love it. I couldn't disagree more, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. And plus, he showed up out of shape, and I don't know. I'm not Not in there. Half a sack last year. I know there was, other circumstances in the team and all that stuff, but half a sack is half a sack. And, he could triple it and have two.
I hear you. I hear you. And it's funny because we both argued out of both sides of our mouth in different cases because how many times have I given you crap about Abdul Carter's 4 sacks and you tell me about his hurries? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I know where you're coming from. It's a reasonable case, but this guy's been one of the top 3 defensive tackles in football for the last 5 years. And I don't think last year ends that personally. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. All right. So for the Giants, who do you, did we do the pick?
Oh, no, we didn't. We got into an awesome talk about the whole Dexter Lawrence thing, but we didn't do the pick. So, yeah. So, for me, now I had the Giants taking Sonny Styles, right? So, I have them going defense first. And we all know that they've been the king of defensive potential now for about 5 years. Everybody talks about all the sacks they're going to have, and then they never happen. But I can't go. They do have a lot of decent pieces on defense, and I can't have them going defense twice in a row. So in my draft, the best offensive lineman is still on the board. Now, could you imagine the joy in Giant Land if they get Sonny Styles and Francis, however you said it, Maianoa?
Maianoa, I believe.
So that's what I'm going with.
Okay, that is all right. Yeah, they would definitely like that. That's for sure. This is where I have Sonny Styles going. I had him fall.
Oh, that's great.
So in my draft, they get Sonny Styles still, and they get Tate.
I love it. Yeah. No, they'd be thrilled with that too, for sure.
Yeah. I'm looking at it thinking Styles is probably not going to fall that far, but I just was looking at needs more than a lot of other things, and maybe overemphasize certain needs over best player available. But whatever. If he's there, I don't think he can buy them. What's that?
It's not a terrible strategy the way you were looking at it this year because there's so much mixed opinion on who's the best and who's actually this, that, or the other.
I was just kind of thinking that's the approach I'm going to take with this mock that we're doing here.
It makes a lot of sense to me. I wouldn't argue it at all.
So yeah, I mean, I think if he's there, they're definitely not going to let him pass at 10.
100%. I mean, I had him taking him at 5, so I definitely agree with that. 100%.
Okay, number 11 is Miami. This is where I had Downs going.
Oh, okay. And I think they'd be thrilled if he lasts outside the top 10 for them. They would love that, and that's a lock pick right there. Makes a lot of sense. It's a need. It's one of the best players in the draft according to everybody. Most people have him as the number 2 overall player. Some have him number 1.
Yep.
Love it. Now this is an interesting one to me because I had secondary as their biggest need, and that includes cornerback. And one of the most interesting guys in the whole draft to me this year is the guy I'm having Miami take at number 11, and that's Jermon McCoy, the cornerback from Tennessee. Now, McCoy, we talked about this also in the free agency pod. I think McCoy is the best cornerback in the draft this year. I like him even more than I like Mansour Delane, and I like Delane a lot. McCoy didn't play a snap last year because of a torn ACL recovery. And that's the only reason this guy's not going in the top 7. He would be I think he would be a top 5 pick personally if he had played last year and played at the level he did the previous season. But because of the injury, he's going to fall a little bit, and he very well may fall further than I have him going here. But it makes a lot of sense to me, Miami taking him, 1, because it's a need, and 2, because they are in the midst of a tear-down rebuild, and they have time to allow this guy to recover.
Yeah, I've seen McCoy moved all over the place in mocks that I looked at. I saw one had him in the top 10, like you have him. And then I'm looking at NFL.com right now just to see where he was, and they had him at 22.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing. And none of it would surprise me. None of it. I mean, it would be like I have him going at 11. I would be surprised if he goes I'd be surprised if he goes ahead of Delane because of the injury, even though I think he's by a hair, I like him a little better. And it's splitting hairs because I like them both a lot. But because of the injury, there's a good chance he doesn't go until the 20s. So it could be anywhere in between 10 and 25 to me.
Yep. Just depends on what you think, how people view the injury.
the medicals, team by team, are going to be huge with this guy.
Yeah. All right.
Now you take this. I don't care who's up next. You're taking this one first.
We're pretty much doing pick by pick. We don't even need to go back and forth, really. We're just, saying each pick for each team. But anyway, well, because of how my draft is broken down, I still have Ruben Bain up there, and that's who I have Dallas taking.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
I don't know if he'll last that long, but if he does, they better take him.
Oh, they'll be doing a jig. They'll be doing a happy dance in the booth. You'll see Jerry, do backflips at 89 years old or whatever he is now.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to take him over Downs or, like I'm looking at other teams that I could have given Bain to. But the last three right before Bain is Downs, Sonny Styles, maybe Delane, but Kansas City's need is a cornerback. So maybe over Jordan Tyson for the Saints, maybe. I don't know. But so I went with Bain for Dallas.
I get it, man. No, that could very well happen. There is a massive wide range of outcomes for almost every player we're discussing here. So there's really no crazy. You're not going to say anything in this whole thing unless you pull out some like 7th round prospect and put him in the 1st round. That I'm going to be like, whoa, dude. You know what I mean? So. One of the most common picks I've seen for Dallas actually is the guy I just had go to Miami at 11, Jamal McCoy. I've seen him go to Dallas a ton in mock drafts.
Yep. I'd be fine with that.
Yes, I mean if I would be too if I were you. I'd be a little pissed as an Eagle fan because I like McCoy that much. And what a big deal secondary is for them, including safety. Now, there's not another cornerback I like here right now. If I had either Delane or McCoy on the board, I would have taken him for Dallas. Or if I had my number 3 edge rusher still available, like you did with Bain, I would have taken him. All that being said, I decided to go secondary, and there's 2 safeties that are after Caleb Downs as 2 and 3 that people are in love with. And I went with the guy with the speed as opposed to the guy with the size for Dallas, and that is Dylan Tieneman, the safety from Illinois. Tell me why.
Because Dallas picks again at 20. And guess who I have them taken at 20?
I love it. And that's very possible that he's still there for them at 20 even. So absolutely makes perfect sense. And this guy is an athletic freak, man. He ran a 4.35 40. He's 6 feet tall. He has a 41-inch vertical. And he was productive. 306 tackles and 8 picks in 3 years of starting at Oregon.
There's a coaching connection, too. The Dallas defensive backs coach was was on Oregon staff, or Oregon's coach was involved. Something with Oregon's coach and the Dallas defensive backs coach. There's some sort of connection, and he knows the kid.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I didn't even know that. So this makes even more sense than I thought. That's awesome. That's really cool. And I love this guy. If he somehow falls to the Eagles, I would be doing a happy dance of my own. I'll match Jerry Jones's backflips if he falls to the Eagles.
Okay, the Rams.
All right.
The Rams. They need a friggin' receiver.
They sure do.
From what I can tell.
Here's my guy, and this is now, I still have Jordan Tyson on the board, right?
Yeah.
But my number 2 receiver, as much as I like Jordan Tyson, I have absolutely fallen in love with Mekhi Lemon. Mekhi Lemon, I think, has a real chance to be the best receiver in this entire draft. I love this guy. He likes blocking as much as he likes receiving. He's a absolute bull with the ball. He'll run you over sooner than run around you. And he's a monster, and he's a perfect fit for the Rams. If he gets drafted by the Rams, he could have 70 catches for 900 yards his rookie season, even with those other 2 guys there.
Okay, so guess who I have for the Rams?
Who?
Mekhi Lemon.
Hey, my man. I love it. It makes so much sense. And I've seen it a ton in mocks, too.
Me too. And that is everywhere I looked for team needs for the Rams. It was pretty clear cut. Wide receiver was their number 1 need.
Yeah, and add to because it might sound weird to people that don't pay attention, crazily like we do in the offseason, that the Rams have a need at receiver, given that they have arguably the best receiver in football in Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. But the reason is Devontae Adams is old and Puka Nacua is in rehab.
Yeah, we don't know what the deal is.
We don't know what the deal is, man. So they need to, not only do they have to plan for the future around Devontae Adams, but their best receiver is currently a massive question mark. So this makes all kinds of sense to me. This is a team that's right on the cusp, and they're just loading up to let Matt Stafford have another great year as he pushes 40 years old. And I love this pick. To me, this was one of a handful of really easy picks, like the Chiefs taking Mansour Delane and a few others.
Yep. All right. Baltimore, the Ravens, smart drafters historically.
No doubt.
I have them taking, I'm never going to get this name right.
Ooh, that means it's probably the same guy as me.
Ola Vavega Iona.
Boom, we're on the same page again, my man.
Ione. Yes.
Yep, that guy.
That's the guy. That's the guy, him. Again, looking at the Ravens, their number one need that I saw more often than not was offensive line. This kid's a guard out of Penn State, and I like this pick for them quite a bit.
I'm huge on this guy. Their specific offensive line need is interior offensive line, meaning either guard or center, and this guy is that. He is the number one interior offensive lineman in the draft, and it's not close. He's an absolute beast. He's a guy that I was hoping a couple months ago would fall to the Eagles. That's probably out of the question at this point. He's a perfect fit for Baltimore. He is easily the number one interior offensive line prospect. He's 6'4", 323. He's a monster, and it makes so much sense. I love it. I'm right there with you.
Perfect. All right, yeah, well, I'm ready to move on. Let's go to Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for them, I have the edge as their number one need, but didn't really like the next guy I have. I think it's a little early, so I went to their next need, which is cornerback, and that brings me to McCoy.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yep.
And we already discussed him, and I just had him at this point here.
That makes a ton of sense, man. If I had McCoy still on the board, I probably would have gone that direction too. Since I didn't, I went exactly where you were talking about, to edge. And maybe I'm overdrafting this guy a little bit. Listen, there's a cluster of edge guys after Reuben Bain Jr., who I think almost everybody and their brother has as the number 3 guy. There is a cluster that you could literally shake around, mix up, and spit back out 12 different ways, and nobody's going to look at you sideways.
I wonder if the same guy is me.
Well, I'm curious too, man. So the guy I have going, and my number 4 edge guy personally is, and it's wild because it's the second guy from Miami already, edge guy from Miami, the other guy on the other side of Reuben Bain Jr., and that's Akeem Mesidor.
Okay, not the same guy.
Okay. And it doesn't surprise me a ton because there are literally, let me check my count here. There are at least 3 other guys other than Mesidor that I could throw in that cluster and have taken right there and not felt stupid about
it. Yeah. Yeah, I have, let's see, I have 1, 2, yeah, I have at least 3 more. Yeah,
right on.
All right. But that fills a need for them too. That's good.
Yeah, at the very least, both of our picks are filling needs.
Yes. All right. Back to the Jets.
Here we go.
After getting Reese, who do you have them taking with their second pick in the first round?
Well, there's a guy on the board who you had going a lot earlier, and I just had him fall a little bit because of the injury concerns we discussed, and that is Jordan Tyson. And boy, would the Jets be excited if he's still there at 16. I love this guy. The injury concerns, sometimes that gets people sliding. You never know. I just had him go a little lower than I thought he should have because of that. So the Jets get a nice surprise.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I can definitely see that. I was torn. I actually wrote down somebody else and then I changed it. Because the one I end up going with is a little bit kind of crazy. So I was thinking maybe I shouldn't do it because it is kind of crazy. But then I said it's the Jets. Anything's possible.
Perfect.
So I went with Ty Simpson.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
Because I could see the Jets saying to themselves, we have all these picks next year. We're going to give Ty Simpson the keys to the car immediately. Game one, let him play all year. If he's a complete disaster, then we have 3 picks to draft another quarterback next year. And nobody does that. Nobody drafts 2 quarterbacks 2 years in a row. But when you have that kind of draft capital, you can do it if you figure out that the first guy's not the answer. And if he's not, then you go and you get Arch Manning or whoever next year, and there you go. I think that's what their plan is going to be, and that's what I would actually. I don't hate that plan, to be honest, because if Simpson is the guy, then you got 3 picks in the first round next year, and you don't need a quarterback.
Listen, I don't hate it at all. I kind of like it, actually. This is really intriguing, and I couldn't wait to see if or where you had Ty Simpson going in the first round. And
He might not. There's a chance he doesn't go.
Well, I am a massive believer that he will. I think it may end up coming from a trade up at the back end of the first round. I think there's another good possibility for him without that option. And if neither of the one you picked or the one I'm going to have later happen, I think there's a real good chance you get a trade up into 32, 30, 31, 30, somewhere in that range. This is too weak of a draft for a good quarterback like him not to go in the first round. I think it's almost impossible for him not to, but you never know.
Right. Okay.
I love it. I think that's a great idea.
All right. So who do you have the Jets thinking?
That's where I had the Jordan Tyson pick.
Oh, that's right. Okay, sorry. All right.
All good.
To Detroit.
Oh, okay.
They need
Now,
offensive line help.
Well, right. We're on the same page again, my man. We are on the same page again. Now we're in a interesting scenario here because there's a lot of different opinions on who the best tackles are. I mean, once you get past even Mayuga or the Francis from Miami that we had going early, there are some people that don't have him number 1, although most do. And then from there, you get a big old mixed bag of who's next. You had Spencer Fano going pretty early. He's a lot of people's number 2, not everybody's.
Yep.
I have another. Well, go ahead.
No, you're right. Yeah. I was just agreeing with you.
Right on. So I'm going to go with the guy I have number 2, even though it's like 2 and 2A for me, because he's a tool. He's just an absolute physical freak. The NFL loves these kind of guys. Plus he played for Alabama. They love that too. Caden Proctor, who is 6'7", 352 pounds. And, Detroit loves beasts, and this guy is absolutely that. He's everything Dan Campbell would love in a football player. He will maul people, and it's a need. So I'm taking him. I'm taking him Detroit to the bank. Let's see what happens. Caden Proctor to Detroit at 17.
Love it. And I'm right there with you. Just I pick a different guy. My next offensive lineman after Mawanau and Fano, Spencer Fano. My next one is Monroe Freeling from Georgia.
Love this guy too. Absolutely.
His problem is he only started 18 games in college.
Right.
So, there's a little bit of a development there, but they also think that his ceiling is sky high.
Yeah, he's going to go. I mean, I'd be stunned if that guy didn't go in the first round. He's definitely a first round tackle, no doubt about it. And you're right. He's looked at as potentially the highest upside in this whole thing. And again, the lack of playing time is why he's not going a little earlier. But yeah, he's everything you want in a prospect except the reps.
Yep, I agree. Perfect.
Beautiful.
All right. We are moving along here, and let's go to Minnesota. The Vikings.
Man, this
I'm
is an interesting one.
surprised this guy that I have fell as far as he did for me, because I like him a lot. And where I was looking, he was going right in the range of Dallas at around 12, 10, 11. Well, not 10, but like 12, 13, 14, that range. And, we're here at 18. He's still there. And it's another edge rusher, and it's Keldrick Falk
Oh yeah, absolutely,
from
absolutely.
Auburn.
Wide range of opinions on this guy, but everybody has him going in the first round at this point, no doubt about it. So yeah, this is a nice one. I like that. It makes perfect sense for the team.
He's my number 4 edge rusher.
Right on, right on. Yeah, yeah. He's. I think I had him. Let's see. Yeah, I had him 5. So we're right with each other.
Yeah, I had Reese, Bailey, Bain, and then him.
Right on, right on. Yeah, he's. I had I had one guy ahead of him. Oh, Akeem Mesidor. That's right.
Mesidor. And I had Mesidor right after him.
Right on. So yeah, we're right with each other in this draft. If to be that close in this draft, we're thinking a lot alike. So yeah, that's a great choice, man. The the way I'm going is another. There are 3 just tantalizing safety prospects in this draft. And I've talked about 2 of them already. The third is Emmanuel McNeil Warren from Toledo. This guy is 6'4", 202. That's a 6'4" safety, man. And you don't see them come along every day. So,
Definitely.
I mean, he looks like Cam Chancellor. You remember Cam?
Yeah, I remember Cam. Oh, yeah.
Yep. Legion of Boom Seahawks. And, he reminds me of Cam Chancellor with more speed. So, that's scary. And they've just come on. I can't think of the guy's name. I was trying to pull it up, but I'm too slow. But they've had a great safety there for a long time. I'll find it the next time you talk. But that guy is finally aging out in his mid 30s, and they need a new guy to take over. And I think this guy could be their guy for another 10 years. So Emmanuel McNeil Warren to Minnesota for me.
Yep, I love it. Makes a lot of sense. I could see it. All right.
Harrison Smith is the guy that I was talking about.
They're saying, yep.
So the last time they took a safety in the first round, it worked out pretty darn well for him.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is you get this guy with Smith for a season or 2 to learn.
Exactly. That'd be sweet. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Carolina. Another team that I have needing offensive line help as their number 1 need. There's a lot. So, looking at who I have as a first round grade and in the offensive line category, position,
Yep.
think it's a little early for him, but a need is a need, and I went with Caleb Lomu.
You got it. Yeah, Lemieux, I would go with. I'm not quite sure.
Utah offensive tackle.
And this is another set of teammates we've had that play the same position. Like we had the 2 Miami edge rushers go in mine already, not yours yet, but mine already. And now you have the 2 bookend starting tackles for Utah going in Lemieux and Fano.
Yeah, and Trent Williams is 38 years old, so he can be the in waiting,
No doubt. And he just signed a 2-year extension at 38 years old. Isn't that funny?
I said Trent Williams. I'm sorry. That's with San Francisco. But regardless, Lemieux on Carolina, yeah, he could probably start right off the bat.
It makes a lot of sense. It makes a ton of sense. They absolutely have a need there, but they also have a need at another position. And to me, he's one of the most exciting prospects in the entire draft. He ran the fastest 40 time in the history of his position at the combine. 4.39 for a guy who's 6'3", just over 6'3", weighs 241 pounds. He's gonna go before my Eagles, and it's gonna make me mad. And that is Kenyon Sadiq. I'm more as excited about this guy as anybody in the draft. He's an absolute monster. He not only he produced in college, you can see his production. It was there. But then he was off the charts at the combine. I mentioned the 40 time. He beat Vernon Davis's fastest 40 time ever for a tight end, by the way. So that tells you the league he's in his speed.
Vernon.
One of my favorite nicknames ever. And and he scored a 99 on the combine athletic score, which is obviously as high as you can get. And the only other guy, there's only one other guy that I remember that did this. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's Sonny Styles. And if you're in category of Sonny Styles in this year's draft, you're doing something right. And Carolina desperately needs a tight end. They have nobody. I mean, nobody of any consequence. They've got Tommy Tremble, I forget the other guy's name, Javon something, and nobody that's done anything in the NFL. So this is a need and an exciting player. I didn't see a lot of people putting him on Carolina, but it makes a lot of sense to me. I hope I'm wrong, because if he lasts a few more picks, he could be with the Eagles, and I would love it.
Yeah, I have him going earlier. First of all, he was the guy that I was debating with the Jets on who to take when I ended up landing on Simpson.
Oh, that would have made sense. Yeah.
Him to the Jets. But when I looked at a couple today, and both of them actually had him going to Tampa at number 15.
Oh, that's interesting. I've seen that too. Yes. I could see it. I told a buddy of mine after he ran that 4.39 at the combine that there isn't a chance in the world that he gets to the Eagles now at 23. Now, some of the mocks still have him around at that point, which surprises me a lot, because, I mean, Vernon Davis, he went in the top 5, or top 6 maybe. I think he was either like maybe 6. He was definitely top 10. And, guys like this at that position don't come around very often. This is elite, all-time elite speed at this position. Plus, he doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses. He likes to block. How many tight ends are left in the league that like to block, that actually can catch passes too? Not many. So this is one of the few well-rounded guys to come out. And on top of it, he's the fastest tight end ever to come out of college.
Yeah. Brennan Shadiq.
Yeah, nice.
Or Sadiq. Whatever.
As long as you get the burning in there, you're doing good with me.
All right, to Dallas's number 20 pick.
Here we go, bud. All you first.
Well, I already said it. It's that Thieneman.
Oh, that's right. The safety that I like so much. Absolutely.
So that's where I went. I would if Dallas comes out of this with Bain and Thieneman, that's a nice way to start repairing the defense.
I'm with you 100%. As an Eagle fan, I'd be booing and sad, because that's a heck of a draft in my mind.
I will note that I looked at 2 drafts today. I looked at 3 yesterday mocks, and 4 of the 5 had Dallas trading up.
I saw the same thing.
A bunch of times, right?
A bunch. It's been, and more the closer we get to the draft.
It's weird. I had them, somebody had them trading up to number 4 and getting Sonny Styles. Another one that would be crazy.
I wouldn't do that. No way. Not for an off the ball linebacker that's not a pass rusher. No way. No chance.
Well, that's why I'm not a fan of that one. I saw them also moving up on another one. And who did they get? I think they got, was it Delane? Might have been Delane. They moved up for Delane. I don't remember. But yeah, it was just strange to me that I saw 5 drafts the last 2 days, and 4 of them had Dallas trading up.
Yeah, dude, I was seeing the same thing. I was seeing somebody's like, I think they're just starting to put together possibilities for every team that has 2 draft picks now,
Yeah.
2 first rounders, I mean.
Yep. But, we're not going to try to speculate on that, because it's just, absolutely impossible. So we're just going to stick to the draft as it is now. And so that's where I went with the safety there. Who did you give Dallas?
Okay, well, I went with the edge rusher you had going earlier. I had your number 4 guy still available, and that is Keldrick Falk.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. I would take that too.
Yeah, I thought you might be pretty happy with that. Yeah, man, and he seems to be a perfect scheme fit from what I was looking into for the Cowboys too. So it's not just like square peg, round hole. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, seems like a real fit along with being a good player. So I wouldn't be thrilled about that either. I think I kind of like your picks a little more for you than mine, but I still like both of them.
Yeah. Me too. Yep. I like them both. All
Right
right.
on.
Let's move on to Pittsburgh.
Sweet.
What are they doing for quarterback? I mean,
Oh, well, can I just say, big surprise? Aaron Rodgers didn't live up to his word and get them tell them what he's doing a month after the season was over, like he said he would.
uh, well, I just went with it's listed as a need. It's like their third biggest need, but quarterback's one of them. So it's actually more of their second biggest need because they're not going to take a quarterback, especially if the Jets take Simpson. So if he's not there, they're going to go somewhere else. And I have them going with somebody who in the draft I'm looking at now, so I'm kind of scrolling as we're talking, someone who went 13th to the Rams here, for me lasted all the way to number 21 for Pittsburgh, and that's Omar Cooper Jr., the receiver.
Oh, yeah, he's really intriguing, and he's been rising. A lot of people have him above Jordan Tyson now because of the injury concerns. I don't agree, but, I mean, people love this guy, so he's a hot riser.
Yep. So that's why I have Pittsburgh taken at 21. Who do you have?
All right, well, this is where I have Ty Simpson going.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The only reason why I didn't do it is because I gave him to the Jets earlier.
Yeah. So obviously you're not going to have him going there because you did that, and I love that move for them. But yeah, this is. I mean, how Pittsburgh can't want to play this Aaron Rodgers game much longer. You know what I mean? Like, are we going to do this again next year? Like, is he going to be 46 years old and hanging out in the ayahuasca tent, letting them know on August 14th that he's going to play again this year? It's gotta be annoying, even if you love and respect the guy as a player. So even if he comes back, this is the sit behind him and learn, and then you got your guy next year, and then you don't have to play the Aaron Rodgers waiting game anymore.
Yep. I like it. Like it a lot.
Right on.
Okay. To the Chargers. Chargers are tough because they've got some needs, obviously, but right now I don't like any of the edge rushers, which I see as a need. To be honest, the offensive lineman, a little bit, I could have went there, but I ended up going with cornerback, which was also a need that I saw. And I went with Chris Johnson from San Diego State. He was the next one on my list. And, yeah, they have the Chargers, I hate them, and it's so disappointing every year. And honestly, this is like a very uninspired pick for me. It just kind of, like you said, round peg in a round hole, like it just kind of fits because he's a corner and that's a need. But all their other needs right now are not players that I want to give them right now because it's just a little higher. They're a little bit farther down the list for me. And Johnson I have as my third rated corner after Mansour and McCoy. So he's the highest on the list of what they have for needs. I can give him, my sixth offensive lineman or my ninth or sixth rusher or my third corner. So I figure that's the highest one. So I'll go give him a corner.
Makes a lot of sense. That guy's been one of the biggest risers during the off-season prospect or the process. I mean, he was outside of the top 5 of cornerbacks 3 months ago, and it just keeps rising to the point where everybody's convinced he's a first rounder now. So that pick makes a ton of sense to me. Now what I did though is I did go to my 6th best edge rusher. Again, they have a massive need there. They lost Odafe Owe in the offseason after trading for him and salvaging his career. Then they lost him to a big money deal to I think the Commanders signed him. And this guy's very similar. He's a pass rush specialist. He's not one of these big edge guys that's going to, be a rock against the run and also run the passer, rush the passer. He's going to be a pure pass rusher. And I think he fits in there pretty well. And that is Cassius Howe from Texas A&M. 6'3", 253.
Yep. And you're right about this. The edge rushers all being bunched together. Because I have three, two others ahead of him, but they're all bunched up with each other.
Yeah, right there with you, man. Like, there's honestly like three other guys I could have gone with here, but I tried a little move this year of just typing in who's a better fit for this system and put in four guys, and that's the one it picked. So I decided to go with it.
Okay, hey, that's a good system. That's good.
I thought it was worth a shot. The AI Google has been getting good enough to do that stuff now.
Okay, man. Your Eagles are on the clock. What do you got?
Well, here we go, man. Now, listen. I think the odds of the way my draft board happening are pretty slim. But, boy, if this happens this way, Eagle fans and Howie Roseman and everybody in the Eagles is going to be thrilled because, boy, they have to they're going to take a tackle of the future somewhere in this draft, an offensive tackle, because Lane Johnson's in his last year. And they always plan forward on the respective lines, offensive and defensive. And in my mock, an offensive tackle you had going, I think, right around the top 10 is still here. And that is for Philly, Spencer Fano. Boom, let's go.
Oh, yeah, I have number 6.
Yeah. I forgot. I couldn't remember how high. I knew it was real high. And that is just as likely or more than him being there at 23. But just the way my mock went, it's just how it happened. And he was sitting there, and I was like, boom, easy choice.
Yeah, oh, yeah, if he's there, no doubt. Well, I have them starting to address the defense.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. Philly's kind of, they I wouldn't say they took much of a step back on defense, but they maybe a little bit considering where they were 2 seasons ago. But in a way to get back on that track, I have them getting edge rusher TJ Parker.
I like it. I like TJ Parker.
Yeah, from Clemson. And he's my 5th edge rusher ahead of some of the ones we've already talked about. But yeah, like you said, they're all bunched up. Parker, Howell, Messidor was in there. Lawrence, who we haven't talked about yet. Mason Thomas. There's a few that are all kind of right there, but I have Parker as the best one of that little bunch. And start replenishing the defense and making a strength stronger.
I do not mind that. Thank you, Cowboy fan, for doing a solid job for my Eagles. I love it. No, I would not be mad at that at all. If the board went the way yours did, and that's what they did, I'd be totally okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, because if it went the way mine did, there's not a whole lot. I don't have a whole lot left that they need that I would give them at this point. So that's why I went with him.
It makes a ton of sense, man. It really does. I do not hate that even a little bit. I like it.
Yep. Cool. All right. Cleveland, back again. I gave them Fano at number 6. Well, who did you give them at number 6?
I gave them Cornell Tate.
Yes. Okay.
So who are you combining with your offensive tackle pick for Cleveland then?
This is where I went with Sadiq.
Ah, wow, that's cool. I like it.
The tight end, yep. Invest in the offense a little bit, get some protection for whoever's going to be throwing the ball, and give another target. And, we talked about him enough already. You mentioned all the positives about him. So I almost gave him 6 picks earlier with the Jets, but instead he ended up lasting to this point with Cleveland.
Right on. So I went. Now, this is fun because you had both Utah tackles gone in your draft as of a few picks ago when you put Caleb Lemieux on one of the teams. I can't remember who it was now.
Lemieux was on Carolina.
Thank you. Well, in my draft, they ended up going back to back. I got Cleveland their receiver early, and then I get Caleb Lemieux for him at pick number 24, and I think they'd be pretty happy if it worked out like that for them.
Yeah, so we both gave him offensive lineman and one target. Yours was a receiver, mine was a tight end.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's pretty on target.
Yeah. All right. Awesome.
Love it.
Let me make sure I get that. Okay. Yep. All right. Number 25 is Chicago. I had some trouble with this one. I did not know where to go with this.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the rest of the way, I had some trouble. There's a lot of scribbles and, X off this guy and put him back in and then X him off again. And yeah, this one was tough for me. Cause their biggest line, needs are, from what I can tell again, are safety and offensive linemen. And then it just kind of was bland after that with like some DB help wouldn't hurt this and that. And I just don't like the offensive lineman where we're at now at this point. So I went probably never going to happen, but I went with Colton Hood, the cornerback from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. This one just gave me, like I said, I crossed off a bunch and then ended up just landed on him kind of.
Yeah, man. Listen, at this point in the draft, there's going to be picks like that. It's just tough to figure sometimes because there's so many, like, especially in a draft like this, once we get to this point of the first round, you could take any of the positions and you could give me your best remaining top five and I could give you my best remaining top five and they could be completely different. You know what I mean?
I want to throw a name out real quick because I
Please.
never even heard of this kid. And they had Dallas taking him at number 20.
Who's that?
Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech.
Yeah, no, I know the name, but I have not heard him going in the first round from anybody. So obviously I missed that particular mock.
Crazy.
No, that would, yeah, you guys, people would be pulling their hair out if that happened. Nothing against him. I mean, he's a solid prospect, but I have him in my most trusted, position rankings. I have him as the number 10 ranked linebacker.
Yeah, like a second or third round pick.
Yeah. And we've only had, I think, maybe, cause when they call you a linebacker now, they're excluding you as an edge rusher. So that takes out guys like Arvell Reese. You know what I mean?
Linebackers we've had.
Sonny Styles, I think, is the only one.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So they have this guy going as the number 10 guy, skipping number 2 through 9.
I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah. Again, it's that kind of year. So one person's number 10 could be another person's number 4, but I don't see one person's 10 being another person's number 2 very often. That's crazy.
And going ahead of some of the guys that are after him because that was Dallas' number 20 pick. And, they need cornerback help, obviously, and other defensive help. And McCoy would have been sitting there. I don't know.
I'm with you, man. No, I would, I mean, as an Eagle fan, I'd be like, yeah, good. Nice pick. Oh, man. Well, listen, I had a similar issue with this Bears pick. I had defensive line, although they were looking for rushers as much, if not more, as defensive tackles, but they don't have a absolutely stellar top 3 rotation at defensive tackle like you need anymore in the NFL. And guess who's still sitting out there? The number 1 rated defensive tackle in the draft, and it's pretty unanimous as far as what I've seen, as much as anything is in this year's draft, and that is Peter Woods from Clemson. So I'm going Peter Woods, Clemson, to the Chicago Bears.
I like it.
Right on.
I like it a lot.
Very cool.
He just missed my making my list. I have him. I had him written down, but he didn't make my 32.
Well, it's wild, man, because you very well could be correct. And think about, when was the last time you remember a year where not a single defensive tackle went in the first round?
Crazy. Like you said, this is a crazy year.
It's a wild draft. It's a very unique draft. It really is. And if either one of us gets at least 10 picks right in this first round, we should win something.
All right. I have Buffalo needing edge in offensive line, and I still have available to them on the offensive line the guy that you had going. Where did you have Proctor going?
Number 17 to the Detroit Lions.
I have him at 26 to Buffalo.
Oh, they'd be very happy with that, man. Great pick.
Yep. The edge rushers we already talked about, they're kind of dwindling a little bit. And I really like Proctor anyway, and I have him ranked pretty high at offensive line. So there you go.
I love that pick. I absolutely love it. He is considered arguably the highest upside player at any position in the entire draft because of his physical tools. I mean, this guy, to reiterate, I brought it up at 17, but to bring it up one more time, he is 6'7", 352 pounds. This guy's a monster, and he can move. It's crazy.
Fantastic.
All right. Love it. Okay, so my selection for the Bills, and it's funny because we just talked about this a second ago, and that is that we only had one quote-unquote linebacker that's not an edge rusher go in the draft so far. Well, it's time for my number 2 guy, and that is Anthony Hill.
Anthony Hill, okay.
Now, this guy I've seen anywhere from the number 2 linebacker behind Sonny Styles to the number 6 or 7 linebacker. But I've seen him number 2 a lot. I did my little scheme fit thing with him and 4 other dudes, and he came up the guy. So I'm going with it.
Was one of the dudes Allen from Georgia?
Absolutely. C.J. Allen. The other guys were
and
Josiah Trotter.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, any one of those guys would make sense here. And here's the difference in the positional rankings, by the way. The one I'm going by has Sonny Styles ranked number 9 overall, which is kind of low compared to most, actually. Most people have him somewhere in the top 7. But the next rated guy is 38, meaning that they only have one linebacker rated in the first round, because once you get to 33, you're looking at second rounders. So, and that's Jake Golday. They don't have Anthony Hill rated. They have Anthony Hill rated 57, but I've seen him rated as high as in the mid 30s. So, like I said, I'm trying this new tool. We'll see if it works on draft day. I don't know. But this was a tough one, but I like the position.
Yep. Yeah, it's getting tougher as we're going here. Well, San Francisco, they do need a receiver.
No doubt.
No doubt about that. So I went with Texas A&M KC Concepcion.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Very interesting receiver.
Remember Dave Concepcion, the shortstop for the Reds?
Sure. Yeah, the big red machine. Absolutely.
Was it Jose Concepcion or Dave?
It was Dave, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to double check that while you're talking.
Anyway, Texas A&M product, KC Concepcion. San Francisco just needs one. It's getting to the point now. I mean, they lost what's his face, Debo, and then they cannot count on. I'm getting real bad with the names. The other receiver there, Ayuk, you can't ever count on him anymore. And they need more weapons, especially now. Kittle is probably going to miss. He blew out his knee, right, Kittle?
Yeah, there's something there. Let me make sure about his status. I'm pretty sure he's going to miss a chunk of the beginning of the season, but
so they need weapons, obviously.
Big time, dude. Plus, they're who's the white receiver that they got a couple years ago that plays like 8 games a year?
Yeah, we're getting bad with the names,
dude. I'm telling you, man. I said this last podcast, and it's true. We have finally fully morphed into the dudes in the balcony on the Muppets.
We really have. What the hell?
So yeah, please forgive us, podcast listeners. We try, but once you cross 50, man, the names start just vacating.
What is his name? I'm surprised I got Ayuk, to be honest. The third receiver in San Fran, you're right. Can't really count on him at all. Definitely can't count on Ayuk. Debo's gone.
Ricky
And
Pearsall.
Ricky Pearsall, thank you. And Kittle, he's out, right? Pretty
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's rehabbing now, and it doesn't sound like he's gonna start the season, but you never know. Sometimes timelines get messed up in the media, but it doesn't sound like he's gonna start the season.
He was at WrestleMania just downing beers, by the way.
Oh, I love it. Well, maybe I guess that's a good way to forget about your knee pain.
He was standing on it. They zoomed into him, and he drank two beers really quick, and then they went to was it Gibbs from Detroit? He was there too. I think
Mm-hmm.
it was either no, it was Gronkowski because
Oh,
he
of
was there
course.
too, and he was going to drink a beer, and he took it from him and drank his too. Kittle or something like that. Either way, he was drinking a lot of beers whenever the camera was on him.
I love it. Is he a fan of the Sandman from the ECW days?
Yeah, I would imagine he must be.
I
Um,
love it.
but anyway, back on track here. Concepcion fills a need, obviously. What do you got for San Francisco?
Okay, well, I have an offensive tackle that you had going a long time ago, and we mentioned him. The two biggest, like a lot of the two guys people think are the biggest upside tackles are Caden Proctor, who we just talked about, the monster from Alabama, and this guy who I am not surprised you had going as I think he was your third tackle off the board, and that's Monroe Freeling from Georgia.
Yes, I believe he was my third tackle. Yep, and I had him going to Detroit at 17.
Oh, where I had Caden Proctor going. Okay, that's right.
We
Okay.
just swapped them.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Isn't that cool? That's actually pretty cool. And we know they just went off through this whole maybe they'll trade him, maybe they'll renegotiate, and they finally got the negotiations done with Trent Williams. But the dude is 38 years old. They're not super strong at the other tackle, and so this guy could be the coming replacement. Maybe he's good enough to win the job over the other tackle, but this is kind of like the Eagles taking, in my case, Fano as future replacement for a first ballot Hall of Famer in both cases.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yep.
Right on. Very cool. Very cool.
Okay, moving on. So for Houston, I have somebody that you had going a while ago,
Okay.
and that is edge rusher Akeem Messidor.
Oh, love it. I mean, I have my thoughts about position, but I love the value of that guy at this spot.
Yeah, and I know Houston has a good defense, but I think it's another one of those deals where you make a strength stronger. You keep feeding it, kind of like the Cowboys with the offensive linemen. I would not be surprised if they really like an offensive lineman and at 20 somebody's there and they go offensive line again.
I know, which I know would drive you crazy, and I don't blame
It
you, but I
went a
get
little,
it. The
it went a
Eagles,
little bit, but not really. I mean, it's not a bad way to go.
no, I hear you because, I mean, when's the last time you talked about the Cowboys having a bad offensive line?
Right, and the Houston defense is one of the best in the league, and this is just going to make them stronger for longer.
Yeah, man. No, I like that. And here's the thing. There's not a chance in hell I would do that for my pick. But I get where you're coming from and I totally respect it. Now, here's why I say that, and you're gonna laugh because you think back to the last 2 years of our podcast, and what have I been talking about with the Houston Texans over and over and over again? And that is they're
Offensive
just
line.
their astonishing lack of even seeming to give a crap about fixing it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
As they're becoming one of the worst offensive lines in football, they trade Laramie Tunsil for, they almost gave him away to the Commanders, and he's, all pro for the Commanders. They're wrecking their young quarterback's career. And I still don't know how good he is because of the offensive line's been so bad the last 2 years that we can't figure out what's going on with CJ Stroud. Is it his fault? Is it the offensive line? I mean, the offensive line's been so bad. I tend to favor that, but Stroud also hasn't looked great the last 2 years. So I don't know, man. It's weird what they do. So listen, I get where you're coming from 100% or 100% respect it. But if after flapping my gums about it for the last 2 years, I got to go offensive line. And the best guy left, the best value left to me at a position of need, and they're all of them pretty much, is interior offensive line, and that is Connor Lew from Auburn.
Okay.
He's pretty much a center, but he could play guard in the NFL. Major need, scheme fit. There's a couple other guys you can make a case for, Keelan Rutledge, Chase Basantis, but I like Lou. I'm going with him. Position of need. If I didn't go offensive line, I should have to punch myself after all the noise I've made about it the last couple of years.
Makes perfect sense.
Right on.
Yep. All right. On to Kansas City.
Right.
I gave a corner the first time around. I gave Delane. But they need receivers too. There's another, like, it was 1A in terms of needs, cornerback and receiver. So I gave them what I have as the best receiver on the board that is still left, and that is Denzel Boston from Washington.
Right on.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, a ton of sense.
He's my last receiver. Not my last, but my next receiver.
That makes perfect sense, man. No, that guy is there. There's a lot. Wide receiver, in my opinion, is I think to me, it's tied with edge rusher and offensive tackle for the deepest positions in this year's draft. I find the receivers really intriguing. I think there's a good chance it might be the best, not just the deepest, but have the most star power coming out of this draft 3 years from now when you look back.
Yep. I agree. The receivers have really, they've taken over pretty much. I mean, it's just become, it's a big shift. And you don't have to wait anymore. There's no more waiting. They just make an impact immediately.
That's right. I mean, it's so different. It's been fascinating to watch. And you're exactly right. They come into the league, and you can pretty much tell right away if they're going to be great. You know, like there's some exceptions. Some guys still take a year or two to really, and they'll get better, but you can see it right away. Like everybody's real nervous about Marvin Harrison Jr. at this point because he does not look like a star 2 years through. And I kind of have to bet against it because most guys that come into the league now figure it out in the first 2 years, and he hasn't. So I'm really curious about that kind of thing. Listen, I like that pick a lot, but in my mind, you didn't say it, and I'm sure it's on your list somewhere, but and just didn't say it. But offensive tackle is a massive need for the Chiefs.
That was next. That's the next one. Yep.
Right on. Because I like receiver too, and I thought about it a lot, but I just kept seeing Mahomes under pressure. They tried to sign, they didn't try to. They did sign Jawan Taylor away from the Jacksonville Jaguars like 2 or 3 seasons ago now, and tried to make him their starting left tackle, and he was an absolute bust to the point where they cut him 2 years into his deal. So they have a need at starting right tackle right now. Or a starting tackle, period, one of the two. And so I'm going to me, there's a guy out there that is the clear best left guy, and that is Blake Miller, tackle from Clemson. I think he's perfect fit. He's a right tackle in college. They can just slide him right in to be a right tackle in the NFL if they want to.
Yep, I had him on the list there, and I actually, when the team's coming up, I have him going there.
Right on. Very cool.
All right. Going to Miami. And got to go back to what I gave them the first time because there are a lot of teams with 2 picks.
Yeah, no doubt. It's really interesting draft that way.
Oh, I gave them Caleb Downs.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they're happy there.
Yeah, so completely remaking the secondary here with the safety and then a corner, Brandon Sissay.
I'm guessing we're going to, church it up, as they say, in Joe Dirt and go with Sissay.
From South Carolina. That's who I gave them as their corner. And like I said, kind of remaking that defense.
Yeah, man, that makes sense. It makes sense. And Sissay is one of the like 3 or 4 corners you could have said there. And I would have been like, yep. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, he's been on my radar for a while. I was seeing him go to Eagles at a certain point in the offseason, a decent amount, but that has slowed down a little bit through the draft process for whatever reason. You know, some people just get hot in mocks and then they lose a little steam and it doesn't mean a dang thing. So, I like this guy. I looked into him a lot early on because of the fact that he was going to the Eagles a lot, and I like him a lot. So I think this is a heck of a value there. I think he's very likely to sneak into the end of the first round. He could go as late as the middle of the second round, and it wouldn't surprise me too. But I think he's got a real good chance to go right where you just put him.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so for me, now the Dolphins have this pick because of the Jalen Waddle trade with Denver. Denver, right? I didn't make that up, right? It is Denver.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. I'll double check that then, but I'm pretty sure. So, and Tyreek Hill, who, by the way, what an intriguing free agent to still be out there. Tyreek Hill is out there for anybody to sign right now, which blows my mind.
Yeah. Well, by the way, confirmed that it was the Denver trade for Waddle.
Thank you. Appreciate that, my man. So I don't think there's any team in the league that has a bigger needed receiver than the Miami Dolphins. They lost their top two receivers and weren't that strong behind them in the first place. So, this is, for me, since I got them a cornerback early on, I had them take Jermon McCoy. So this is easy for me. And plus a guy you had going a couple picks ago is still available. Casey Concepcion to Miami.
Makes a ton of sense. Absolutely.
Right on.
Gotta
Dig that.
replace that room.
Dig that. Absolutely, man. Big time. They need bodies. Quality bodies. Oop, drop my phone. Sorry. Quality bodies even better, but bodies, man.
Yep. All right. Obviously Seattle just absolutely manhandled New England, and they need offensive line help. And I think no matter who is left, they're going to take them. They're going to have their list, and they're going to take the highest one available. They have to. It is a glaring need. And I have no chance of saying this guy's name right. Arizona State, Max Heenacker?
Ayakanor, I'm not sure, man. But I know who you're talking about.
The last offensive lineman that I have a first round grade in, the next offensive tackle that I have is at pick number 65.
I love it.
And this guy, I have him going number 31. So another 34 picks is the next offensive tackle. It's like a clear-cut gap right there.
I'm with you, and this is crazy that we hit the same guy at this point in the draft. But he was my last tackle, and my lasting image is of seeing the New England quarterback just get pummeled in the Super Bowl. Yep. So I also went with Max Ayakanor, who's a guy, I don't know how, I'm going with that. I don't know how to say it. But I've seen this guy go a ton to the Eagles at 23. So it would not be surprising at all to see him go here at 31. I think there's a real good chance he's a first round tackle and that they end up, what is that? I think that's 7. I think we both.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
And then nothing for a long time.
I'm with you. Yeah, that's interesting, and I'm right there with you 100%.
All right. Well, actually, I had Ayakanor or whatever actually ahead of Blake Miller, who you gave a few picks ago.
Oh, yeah, I just had them flip-flopped, yep.
Right, and I have Miller going to Seattle.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense, too. Absolutely.
And that's where my 7. Yeah, my 7 guys, yep.
Right on. Oh, that's great, man. Well, that's funny. We both had 7 of them go. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, for Seattle, man, I had a corner as a big need. I mean, the Eagles signed Reek Woolen. They're one of their starting cornerbacks from last year. And the guy I have is the best left. And again, just like when you took your guy and I said it could have been any one of 4 guys, you'll probably feel the same way about this pick for me. This is another guy I've seen mocked to the Eagles a ton at 23, and that's Avion Terrell from Clemson.
Yep. He was on there. I saw him.
Right on.
Early second round grade is what I got for him.
Yep, which makes sense. That's about where I had him, and it just fit need, and we're right here, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Well, we did it, man.
We did it, dude. We did it. We didn't
we're right on the edge here, but we got a couple minutes left before our 90 minutes is up.
We pulled it off, and we did what is very tricky this mock. I can't wait to see how this draft actually goes. I assume, do you want to do a recap of it sometime in the few days after the draft, or what are you thinking?
What are you thinking maybe next week?
Yeah, man. I mean, we could do maybe I could check in with you for sure, but I could do Monday. I have a lot more free time next Monday than I did this Monday, so I could do it earlier.
Yeah, we'll get it done next Monday. So what's that date so the listeners know?
It would be it would be the 27th.
27th. Perfect. It'll be, so if we do it again Monday and we do it early enough, it'll be out that night. And if we don't, like tonight, this is probably going to come out on Tuesday. So the next Tuesday as well, probably, if we do it later. But either way, we'll get it done. And we'll see hopefully if Brandon can join us and give us his thoughts on it too. And I'm excited because especially with all these teams saying Dallas is going to make a move or two. Very curious, and if they stay put, still pretty excited about who they can grab.
Well, they're one of the most intriguing teams in this whole draft. Like you said, there's a few teams with multiple picks. Right now, the Giants moved into the most intriguing team of the whole draft with the Dexter Lawrence trade by having 5 and 10. But the boys at 12 and 20 are right behind them.
Yeah. Are you getting a sense of dread like I am with the Giants?
I know you're there. I'm not there yet. I totally 100% understand where you're coming from, but and Harbaugh does increase that for me because it's the first time it felt like they had a real coach in a long time.
And they need health, but if they are healthy,
and that's why I'm not so worried, because there's very little evidence that the core of this team can stay healthy.
Right. But my hesitation comes is if by chance they do, they're going to be a problem.
And that's where I'm with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely with
you. They might not. You're right. There's no history to support it. But if by chance.
Dude, listen, I agree with that 100%. I really do, because they have a nice young nucleus. They've had that defense that's been on the cusp of being great for a minute now and never fully coming to fruition. But it's still tantalizing with all that talent. So, and the offense is there now if they're healthy. So, I'm with you.
If they had Sonny Styles.
Yeah. You had two. I mean, listen, they're going to add 2 top 10 talents. So they're going to theoretically, let's say they had Sonny Styles and the safety from Ohio State. What's his freaking name?
Caleb Downs?
Caleb Downs. Yeah, say they had Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. Or they had Sonny Styles and Carnell Tate. I mean, like you had. That's scary.
Yeah. I hope not. Hopefully they flub it up.
Well, they are still the Giants.
Right.
Sorry, Brandon. Love you.
Last thing I want to mention, we're at 128, so we got a boogie.
Yep.
Real quick, a quick baseball note. The New York Mets are the entertainment of the year for me.
I love it, man. What is it? How many is it straight they've lost now?
11. There's a 10. No, it's 11.
I love it.
I've been, I'm a bad person. I drink in the tears of other teams. I really do. I search it out. I search for people just crashing out over their teams. And right now, the Mets fans are losing their minds.
Yeah, man. Listen, I love the glee that you have about this. And the only reason I can't fully join you is because the Phillies are not much better. They're stinking it up right now. So it's taking some of the shine off of the Mets being so bad.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I love it. You're actually cheering me up about the Phillies by being so awesomely excited about the Mets stinking.
I probably put the curse on. They're probably going to win like 5 in a row now.
I love it. That's so awesome, man.
But we'll see. Okay. All right, everybody. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you're going to join us next week when we do a recap of the draft. I am friggin' ready for this thing. I will be locked in on Thursday. I cannot wait.
Love it, man. I'm so excited. I told you I'm going to a concert that night, which is the first time I've missed any round of the NFL draft since 1988, something like that. So I can't believe it's happening, but I'm going to watch it on the recording when I get home and try